And I have a strong feeling that my voice was not heard at all.
You would be right, Troy. I'm having technical problems for some reason today.
That's okay. That's okay. The solar flux, they're meteorites that are coming too close. Denmark wants to buy California. It just for
It's
a low price of $1 trillion. California is worth at least 20 trillion. For God's sakes. You know,
I
it's an
think
amazing world
yeah.
living
I
in.
was
You just
yeah.
made it even more amazing with Soulmate.
Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate that. Um, yeah, so I missed all of your preamble, but I think that um, Soulmate is obviously not set very far in the future.
Yes.
Um, and I don't know if you described what it's about, but I will, if in case you didn't. So really, it's about a lonely computer coder
Right.
who's battling to save her legal romance with a sentient AI. And I mean, the operative word in that is sentient, because I think that's the next part of the puzzle. I think as
Mhm.
soon as we get anywhere near consciousness with AI,
Yes.
even the hint of it, then we're going to be in a very, very different place to where we are right now. Um, yeah, so that was kind of the sort of context for the short.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
And why is it illegal? Why is
Well,
it illegal for
because
them to hook up with the AI?
I think as soon as you get to consciousness or the sort of if companies are starting to develop sentience or I think that's not going to be sort of condoned in the wider world. Do you? I mean, I think this is something that we might come across sooner rather than later.
Well, I think
Um,
it will depend on the ownership, probably, right? Number one, it'll depend
exactly.
on their ethics on the board, and it'll
Yeah.
depend on the country or state and where it takes place.
Right. Right.
Because currently
Yeah.
in the world now, we've got a broad category of things that are considered ethical. So, who's to say? Just the way
Yeah.
just the way it was with internet. You would know coming out of the UK, where it was started. Probably started first. Internet casino gambling.
Yeah.
A lot of people up
Absolutely.
in the US were participating in that when it was
Mm,
legal in the UK.
mm. Well, I mean, I think this is the issue we have is that all of the AI companies are now pushing ahead with things that don't have the safeguards in place. There doesn't seem to be any control mechanisms beyond the companies wanting to achieve things,
Sure, sure.
and they're not self-policing themselves at all, as far as I can tell. So, I
Mm,
mean, the ethics kind of goes out the window because everyone's in an arms race, right?
yeah, that's right.
So I think personally, as soon as you get to something like even the hint of consciousness, I think so. Soulmate is obviously a little slice of 15 minutes of a story, but there's a feature film that I'm also developing or have developed. I started it before the short that focuses on this very thing. What
Sure.
happens if millions of AI suddenly reach consciousness? Now it's not going to be one. It's going to be millions. I
Yeah,
was reading about is it Nvidia?
yeah.
Um,
Nvidia.
uh, it, they have exactly the same setup as I'm suggesting that they're
Yes.
going to test AI in simulations to make sure that they do what we want them to do. So almost like a proof of concept and a safety measure before we put them into robots. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, and this
Yeah.
is
So
just this
what could go wrong?
what could go wrong exactly.
Well,
I think that's
in this numerous bouquet of sci-fi excellence are dozens and dozens and dozens of sci-fi shorts and features that talk about the many things that can happen. uh,
yeah,
you know,
yeah,
because of course, every year, probably for the past 5 years, we're getting more and more and more of these AI interchanges with human beings.
yeah.
And I can say right now, the last person I interviewed, Rodrigo, His was flipped the other way. Well,
Mm.
actually, no, it was actually similar to yours. It was a female dating an AI,
Mm-hmm.
but it wasn't an AI. It was actually an android, a male android. We
Mm-hmm.
normally have the guy with the female android for those purposes, but this one was the other way around, and it was extremely aggressive that she insisted on having. Um,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it made Benny Hill smile. So,
Good old Benny Hill. Yeah.
yes, may he rest well. So yeah, I can imagine, the incredible myriad of events and things that can unfold in the not so distant future. 2035 is a great time
Yeah.
to spin off this idea. You
Yeah,
know,
absolutely. I mean, we were thinking long and hard about, how far away this is, and
right?
it could be even closer. So, I think it's fascinating, but I think it's fraught with so many problems
Yes.
that I was listening to someone on a podcast recently, and they said the big problem is that the human race is fantastic at evolving safety features once there's been a disaster. But in the case of I don't think we're going to get that opportunity. So if we have a disaster with AI, the genie might already be out the bottle, and you can't really put the
Oh
safeguards
yeah,
in place
yeah.
after the event.
That's true
So
because if it's a we have quite a few movies about that already, where the AI gets out and it's all over the place, and they can't get it because now it's all over the internet and they can't
absolutely, yeah,
stop it.
can't stop it.
And it
You can't stop
replicates
it.
itself, and so once it's out, it can't get stopped unless you shut down the internet.
Yeah, which you can't do, right? So
Not many places won't do that.
yeah, exactly.
Some countries will, and I guess, but can you imagine the amount of money being spent on an antivirus trying to get an AI sentient
Yeah,
whatever
yeah,
that's
yeah.
figuring itself out along the way and deciding whether or not it's going to have good reason to get rid of us once we do that to it.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely, yeah. It's a vicious circle, and also it could have many magnitudes of intelligence above us by that
That's
time.
correct. That's correct.
So it's going to be way ahead of us, whatever we think about doing to it.
Well, that's
Um,
why that's why what was the thing called in Terminator? Was it called Skynet?
yeah,
When they turned it on,
yeah,
immediately the thing said humanity's got to go.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Which
you know.
it's probably not wrong from its point of view. I mean, we're not a very we do have our issues, don't we?
Yes, yes. The stars, Amos would say on The Expanse, the stars are better off without us. You know.
Right. Right. So yeah, I mean, obviously, sci-fi writers and creatives are constantly thinking about the dystopian versions of these worlds because it's actually really important that we sort of think about it
Right,
before it happens.
right,
Um, so yeah, but I think the soulmate story was meant to be, yes, it's about relationships, but the bigger story for me is what really happens when we deal with conscious sort of sentient
right,
beings. Um, and I think what's important about uh, the main the main character in Soulmate is that she literally falls for everything that he's saying
right,
because
right,
it's so realistic or
right,
convincing, basically.
right. Let's share a couple pictures here
Yeah.
that we have of it.
Oh, okay. That's me up in a cherry picker on a different project.
Okay, that's our protagonist right here.
Yeah, so that's Mandeep Dillon, who's
Yes.
quite well known in the UK, and also in CSI Vegas, I believe.
CSI Vegas. Okay,
I think so. Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
she does a really good job. She carries it well.
yeah. I mean, I was really, I mean, she's in actually more or less every shot. And I think that
Yes,
to build up that identification in a short period of time, you really need to be with her on this journey. Um, but as I was saying, I think she plays the part of not really, sometimes being kind of like, I don't want to continue this relationship, and
hmm,
then other times being just completely suckered into believing what he's saying. It's
yes,
like he's 100% human.
yes,
And I think that's what we're kind of dealing with here. It's like we can be tricked. We can already be tricked by our phones, and they're not even that sophisticated yet. If
that's
you
right.
get into the realms of this, then what is that going to do to our psychology, and what's it going to do to our mental states? It's
Oh man, yeah.
yeah,
Imagine stuff calling to tell people things
right,
that they don't want to hear.
right,
Fakery, really fakery,
yeah,
that is consistent and bombarding and can't be dealt with because it's in such high abundance and high frequency of
yeah,
these things happening. I think what will probably happen, people may actually give up their phones. Some,
yeah.
not everybody, but some people will give up their phones.
I mean, I suppose it's kind of like, if you've got an addiction to something that's ultimately able to kill you, like alcohol or drugs, then you do have to do that. You have to take it
Right,
out of the equation.
right.
I think there could be situations in the future where tech is so bad for our health that we have to go cold turkey and take it away from us. Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah, and I would imagine that's already the case. There are addiction centers, I believe, for phone use.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know. I've definitely read that there's I think there might be some in London for sure.
Holy smokes.
Yeah, so and that's just literally messages and videos of people, and it's nothing like this, and this is possibly what's coming down the track in the next 5 to 10 years.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So
This is it's not far off.
yeah,
Um, and the thing about it is that I have a feeling that we won't know until it'll be out the bottle.
yeah,
Sort of like a virus that accidentally gets out, and it
yeah,
accidentally gets out because someone made a mistake.
yeah,
You know,
yeah,
just made a mistake, and it gets out. And when
yeah,
it gets out, it does something, and it may do something in the public scheme, on the public scene, and that may alert so many people that
yeah,
it becomes news.
yeah, 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 for sure, for
And
sure.
whether or not it was an accident or intentional, but it just something just happens.
Yeah, yeah,
It,
yeah, yeah,
and depending on the type of AI, it depends on the type of it, because AI is something that, also remember, these are things that are taught. We use the word trained, industry use the word trained, but they're taught information, and then they have a prompt, they have a
yeah,
mission to
yeah,
execute a series of things,
yeah.
and it could be trained to do something inside whatever, and
Mm,
accidentally gets out, and then
mm,
attempts to do that outside, on the internet.
yeah. Yeah,
um
and
uh,
also I think we've got to be kind of aware that not every actor in this arena is going to be there for the good of mankind. There's going to
yeah,
be an incredible amount of bad actors involved that
yes,
really want to cause us harm and
yes,
destruction. So,
yes,
so if you're developing this technology and it becomes, I mean, it's all, as far as I can work out, a lot of this is open source. So in essence, anyone can start to
anyone
develop
can,
it.
anyone.
Yeah. So
So
I'm not quite sure where the safeguards are really.
let me put a great example for you of how it goes wrong.
Mhm.
There's this big push for people to get on crypto,
Hmm.
and there are many different types of crypto, different types of coins. So let's say, for just hypothetically, it's Bitcoin, or hypothetically XRP, something
Yeah.
that's highly adopted by a lot of people, a lot of
Yeah.
countries.
Yeah.
And people decide to no longer use cash, but to use that crypto,
Yeah.
whatever those reasons are. But the AI is designed to get rid of the crypto. And people will say that, oh, well, it can't, it's encrypted. Yeah, but this thing has, quantum thinking or
Yeah.
whatever, and it's
Yeah.
not an encryption for it.
Yeah.
It could decrypt that. And
Yeah.
it does. And it
Yeah.
trashes all the money,
Yeah.
bringing
Yeah.
down all the economies attached to
Yeah. 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 I don't see that. I don't see even that as a far out idea.
it. That's right.
I think I, I mean, it was kind of mentioned in Spike Jonze's Her as a
Mm,
concept because she
mm,
was kind of on his level for a lot of the movie, and then she just went like uh, orders of magnitude higher than him in intelligence,
sure,
and he
sure.
was no longer right for her.
Wow.
And she went and lived in a different almost world to him, with
Yeah,
other AIs that were at that level.
yeah,
Um, if we just don't, I mean, we're limited by our own intelligence. It might not be. It can learn and do things that we can't do at all ever. Um, so yeah, it could be an incredibly problematic period of
yeah.
time. I think
That's
we
correct.
agree.
That's correct. So, in essence, these things have to happen in order for us to do the right thing. And if that does happen, it'll go right back to the general premise that
Hmm.
cash is king.
Hmm.
Cash is king.
Hmm. But it'll feel like a post-apocalyptic version. I think it'll be cash is king, but I think everyone will,
Yeah,
society will break down if that happens
yeah,
anyway.
but people will go back to cash or some
Yeah.
form of cash, whether it be using gold, which no one has except a few. Um,
Mm.
it's going to result to using some sort of hard currency or
Yeah.
something
Yeah.
if these electronic devices become unreliable. In which case they would if we entered into an environment like the Maunder minimum,
Hmm.
where you had all of this really bad, or at times, not the Maunder minimum, but just times of really bad solar activity, high solar activity that just
Mm.
made a mess of electronic equipment. And we enter
Mm.
into a timeline, of extended period like this, of this constant irradiation. um, we have to go resort back to,
Yeah.
doing things the old-fashioned way.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and that feels like an apocalyptic kind of vision in a
Yes.
sense because if we lose all our tech, then everything stops working. Just everything that we now do is hooked into that internet system to the extent that we can't function really.
Yes.
So you go back to a premise, I mean, I'm just even thinking about supply chains in that
Oh yeah.
scenario.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Everything is
Oh yeah.
kind of coordinated on that level, and nothing would be available. Yeah, it's pretty scary. It's pretty scary. I mean, it's great for writers right now, but it's not not necessarily great for the human race. I don't know, in maybe 10 years, 20 years. Yeah, yeah, which is
And add climate change on it, where everything below like the 35th parallel is going to be too hot to live in, something like that. So
right,
if you
right.
don't have, you have to have air conditioning if you live down there, and if you don't, you're going to cook.
Yeah,
you,
absolutely, absolutely,
yeah,
absolutely. And something else you picked up on before was
mm,
the quantum aspect of this,
quantum
because
computing.
I think I think if they carry on at the pace that they're moving,
Yes.
and you ally that to AI, then we're going to get some incredible advances as well. So it might not even be going. I mean, everyone inside the AI industry thinks it's moving at an incredibly fast pace. We might not have seen anything yet.
That's right.
Uh, mm,
That's right.
mm.
Can we show the trailer?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, hold on. I had it right here. Here we go.
You know you're very special to me, don't you?
High priority. An illegal avatar has been detected in our City 3 simulation. A full investigation has been launched.
There's things that you don't know.
Any interactions with AI during this confidential intelligence research will be met with instant dismissal and criminal proceedings.
People don't break up when they love each other. Sit down.
Holy smokes.
I mean, I think one thing we haven't really spoken about the short is that it has a thriller element. It really feels like she's up against it in terms of keeping this relationship while not being discovered. And for me, that was important, that it felt entertaining and it felt like it was something that grabbed you, because I don't want it to be a dry thesis on these things. It's about the real world impact of dealing with this. And I think you're right. I think Mandeep carries it very well, because she has quite a lot of range to cover in this story, especially considering she's playing almost two parts.
That makes a good actor. That illustrates broad range. The judges mention this all the time. It's not just an actor that delivers the story, but the actor that has broad range within that story. So you have this, intense emotion as you watch the film, whether it's short or a feature. But what else is next? Because we're wrapping up on time here. What else is next for you, Richard? What else is going on with the film, and what else is going on with you?
Okay, so the I don't know if I can announce actually what I was just about to say. The festival run's coming to an end, and it was fantastic to be involved with Miami. We're at Boston.
Yes, that's this week.
Yeah, this week.
That's this week right now.
They're
on the 50th anniversary. Way to go, Darren. Way to go, Darren.
Yes. So we're ending on a high with two of the best sci-fi festivals around. And now we're going to have our broadcast, our online premiere on the 24th of February. So, and that's a sci-fi dedicated place, which you could probably guess if there's not that many sci-fi dedicated.
Well, there's Sci-Fi World. Sci-Fi World's on a Roku channel.
Oh, okay. I didn't know Sci-Fi World. So that's going to broadcast soon, which we're very excited about. And then everyone can watch it. It's free at last, and unleashed. Yeah, and then also the feature film that this is related to. It's probably quite expensive to put together, but I think once you've seen Soulmate and you've read the pitch and maybe got to the script, I think you can see that it's you can see it. You can see it because of the short. It wasn't a proof of concept exactly, but it does work as that if you read the script. So I would love to get that made next. The UK funding scene isn't, I don't think, quite as ambitious as the US, and so I could struggle a little bit. But in general, that's the plan.
Well, I think, which I mentioned several times, is that, as tight as things may be, I think it's a good opportunity for films because there's not a lot of big content out there.
Yeah.
So it's a good opportunity to get out there. But we have to wrap it up.
Okay. It's lovely to speak to you.
Thank you so much, Richard. Thank you so much for joining us from the UK. It's probably super late over there at that time.
We just hit midnight, but
there you go.
It was worth it. It was great to talk to you. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll be in touch again soon.
Okay, you take care. Stand
by.
Okay.
All right, folks, you heard it. That was a real exciting one, and don't miss it. Go to Sci-Fi World and on Roku, and you'll find the film there. See you till next time. All right.